Thank you for watching the Scum Alive show. I know I made a video sort of trouncing and bashing Al Sharpton or Reverend Jesse Jackson, but you have to understand that Al Sharpton doesn't lead something. He comes to a cause. He comes to a march. He comes to a protest. The protest is already happening. In this piece, I'm bashing the New York Post. The New York Post is squarely falling on the wrong side of this issue about Eric Garner, and they are trying to bash Al Sharpton in the process to get points with people who are not actually reading the article. So we have the murder of Eric Garner at the hands of the New York City police. And the New York Post is writing an article that says that they stand behind the New York Police Department. On what planet would a logical man, a logical human being, stand behind the New York Police Department, especially concerning this issue? And this is what this issue is about. This is what their article is about. They want to curry favor with the audience since Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson got booed in Ferguson, and you can check my video out on that. They want to ride the wave of hate against Al Sharpton, claim that he is leading a march against Eric Garner, which the march was already organized and started before Al Sharpton even came on board. And it is not a black or white march. It is a Staten Island march. The people of Staten Island didn't say this black man got murdered. They said a Staten Island man got murdered by the police using an illegal chokehold. Chokeholds are illegal across the United States. It's been over a decade or even maybe 2 decades that they had a nationwide conference and said chokeholds are completely illegal because all they do is lead to the death of the person in custody. They don't do anything other than lead to the death of the person in custody, and we have other ways of subduing humans. The police are out of control, and for anybody to side with the police on this matter needs to be put to death themselves, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about an out of control Gestapo police that is murdering people on the street in broad daylight, and you're going to side with them? And do you know what the issue is about? Allegedly, he was selling illegal cigarettes. You killed a man over cigarettes? What planet do you live? Where do you come from? The entire department needs to be shut down, and they need to have trained college graduates from the lowest rank to the highest rank. And those policemen, everybody involved, all 7 of them, need to go to jail, not be on desk duty. Everybody helped. When somebody robs a bank, everybody involved goes to jail. This man was murdered in broad daylight by 2 or 3 people, along with other people helping. All of them need to go to jail, not just 2. Let me read you from the Post. I don't know if they originated the article, but they sure did post it, right? No pun intended. 3 cheers for the NYPD. The Reverend Al Sharpton march today in Staten Island and is meant to slam New York's finest. We'll say it flat out. We support the cops. Why do you support? So you support killing people. You support the police murdering people. And in the video, you clearly see the guy is acquiescing. He's saying, get away from me. You have no cause to arrest me. And they end up murdering him over cigarettes. Let's continue. Better the Rev and company turned their march into a parade to celebrate the NYPD and how the department almost single-handedly turned this city around, notwithstanding efforts to the contrary by rabble-rousing self-promoters like Sharpton. So they're trying to hone in. You see, they're trying to hone in, trying to beat the horse, right? They're trying to get you. Oh yeah, we hate the Rev just like you. And you're so right. We support the NYPD. Let me tell you something. The police does not do anything. The governor doesn't do anything. The mayor doesn't do anything. Judges don't do anything to lower the crime rate. Crime rate falls by itself. And any policeman who tells you that they, walking on the street, beating a single individual over the head, lowers crime rate is a liar and is going to hell. The police crime rate is dictated by the economics of a place. The government stands in the way of crime. The government stands in the way of prosperity. That's what happens. The police don't do anything. They come after the fact. The crime has already been committed. The only thing that they prevent is getting on the freeway, turning on their lights, and sitting there to get people to slow down. Which some good cities actually do. If there's a wave of accidents in a certain area, they'll send a policeman out there in his car and turn the lights on and just sit as a warning in that particular area. That's good police work. Choking a man to death by 7 police officers in broad daylight, murdering him, father of 6, married father of 6. Yeah, what did you just do? You just killed off 7 people, right? Because now what are they going to do? They don't have a father. The wife doesn't have a husband. What did you just do? And this is not a black-white issue at all here. This is Staten Island. The people of Staten Island are raising up. This isn't a black issue. Reverend Sharpton normally only shows up to black issues, right? But I believe he lives in New York, and he wanted to be a part of the, 15 minutes of fame for this. Let's continue on with the article. Only 2 decades ago, the city saw 2,245 people murdered in a single year. That's more than 6 lives a day. And most of those were the lives of blacks and Hispanics. Oh, they really feel sorry for blacks and Hispanics. Is that what they're trying to say? Moms and dads had their kids sleep in bathtubs to avoid stray bullets. So it was so bad a decade ago. I want to read you the top 15 causes of death in New York. Number 1, heart disease. Number 2, cancer. Number 3, chronic lower respiratory disease, including chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, emphysema, and bronchitis. Number 4, stroke. Number 5, accidents or unintentional injuries. Number 6, Alzheimer's disease. Number 7, diabetes. Number 8, influenza and pneumonia. Number 9, kidney-related diseases, including nephritis, nephrotic syndrome, and nephrosis. Number 10, suicide. Number 11, septicemia, an infection of the blood that affects the whole body. Number 12, chronic liver disease and cirrhosis. Number 13, high blood pressure or hypertension. Number 14, Parkinson's disease. Number 15, pneumonitis or inflammation of the lungs. Did you hear homicide in there? There are other charts that have homicide in it. And homicide is equal to some of the lower diseases in New York City, New York State, and New York City. It doesn't even enter into the top 15. How big is the city? 8 million, 9 million, 10 million? I don't know how big they are now. 2,000 people a day. How many people are born each day in New York City? I'm being cold and calculating, but let's put this into perspective. They're trying to get you to be afraid. 2,000 people a day. And now I want you to read these headlines that says it's not that. It's great in New York. NYC.gov. Mayor Bloomberg and Police Commissioner Kelly announces 2012 sets all-time record for fewest murders and fewest shootings in New York City history. Now, this is the state talking, say that it is because Mayor Bloomberg confiscated guns from law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding citizens don't murder people. Law-abiding citizens don't rob people with guns. Confiscating guns. So the mayor was trying to ascribe himself something that had nothing to do with anything. No amount of confiscating guns from law-abiding citizens is going to lower the crime rate. So he's trying to claim victory for something that had nothing to do with what he's trying to claim victory for, which is a lower crime rate. Prosperity lowers crime across the board. Disparity increases crime across the board. Other headlines: The Telegraph. New York's beautiful days as 24-hour passes without a single violent crime. The Daily Beast. Chicago murder rate surges as New York's drops to record low. You know, they're trying to get you to say, to think that Chicago's a really tough city. You know, negative publicity is just as good as good publicity for certain people. The Huffington Post, which I hate to even mention on my tongue, they're despicable. New York City goes without murders, shootings, stabbings for more than a whole day. That's due to prosperity. That's not from gun confiscation, and it has nothing to do with the New York City Police Department. Anybody who thinks differently is either ignorant or is trying to fool you. I'm not trying to fool you. I'm trying to educate you. That would be you black, white, blue, green, polka dotted, or an alien. One of those little grays or those reptilians, whatever you are. I say greetings from this earthling. Let's continue on with the New York Post. Today, thanks to the men and women in blue, who murdered this guy in broad daylight with people standing around with their cell phones recording the entire incident, putting an illegal chokehold on a man, an asthmatic, who was dead on the spot. During the chokehold, he died. He was walking and talking, and in a few seconds, they murdered him. I think it's premeditated. I get murder 1 for it. If I were the judge, that'd be my sentence. Murder 1. You intended to. The guy said that you all have harassed him many times. Just because somebody has a record doesn't mean that they did crimes. Because police harass people. Do you know that? I know people don't think that police are humans and that police are capable of evil. They can take you down. They can bring all sorts of charges. Oh, I had a police officer in law school give a lecture who said I could probably name 100 things that I could charge you with, and I'd get away with it, because that's how the law works. Do you think the police harass people? Oh, there's Jimbo. Let's get him. He's walking down the street. It's a Monday. Let's get him. You don't think police do that? You must think that the police are nice angels and they would never harass and target people, right? Because married men with 6 children are terrible people, right? Let's continue on here. Today, thanks to the men and women in blue, this year the average is less than 1 murder a day. Thanks to the men and women in blue, the police prevented murder. How ridiculous is that? How many times have you called the police and said, I think a murder is going to happen, would you show up? And the police said, we will be right on our way, ma'am. We will be right on our way, sir. Let's come and prevent that murder. This year, the average is less than 1 murder a day. Think of all the lives, minority lives, that have been saved. Is this real? Minority lives. Really? That's your catch? We really care about not just white people. We care about little ignorant black people too. Those little unwashed people. From the Ganges River, swimming in filth. We care about their lives too. Whatever. Even beyond that, New York's police department made the city livable. The police department made the city livable. Not the Italian guy who opened up a corner pizza parlor and hired 15 people. Not the Jewish guy who opened up a restaurant and hires 15 Puerto Ricans and 10 black people. No, that doesn't make it livable. Receiving a paycheck obviously doesn't make some place livable. Huh? It's the police department that did it. The police department walks around handing out paychecks. I want you to know that. There is nothing. You know what? I already have a better answer for the police department. It's called private security. Private security only shows up to do one thing. That is to protect something and to neutralize a threat within the confines of making sure that the name brand of the thing that they are protecting is also secured. So they're not going to murder a person. They're going to neutralize the person and hand them over to whomever, be that a prison or a judge or courts or DA, whatever. Why is it that private security is 10 times better than the police? Because they have one single task. The police do not prevent crime. Throwing people in jail actually does not prevent crime. A person is going to commit a crime if they want to. No amount of death row, no amount of 10 years, 20 years in jail is going to prevent them from doing it. And if that person is hurting financially, if they have obligations that they cannot meet financially, and they have to meet it right now, they will do the crime. The police can be dressed in Superman costumes and it wouldn't prevent any crime. The police actually do nothing to crime. Why do we have good neighborhoods? Because we have good neighbors. We have nice income coming into the neighborhood. The people there are taken care of financially. If you go to a black upper class neighborhood, a black middle class neighborhood, you find the same exact thing. Everybody's got it twisted. This stupid newspaper is trying to say that the police department single-handedly brought down the crime rate. Really? The boom of the 80s, the boom of the 90s, that brought down the crime rate. But the police don't come before crime. They come after crime. Are there some bad cops? No question. Are there police-related tragedies in cities where 35,000 uniformed officers interact? They probably are uninformed, right? Interact with 8.5 million residents 23 million times a year? Who would expect otherwise? But think about what the city asks of these men and women. To walk up a dark flight of stairs in some city building searching for armed bandits who might shoot at any moment. This isn't a story about somebody in a dark recess hiding in a closet with an AK-47, trained militiaman with a vendetta. This is a black guy walking down the street of Staten Island who said, "Stop harassing me, you're always harassing me." And they suspected him of selling cigarettes illegally. Cigarettes, ladies and gentlemen. Cigarettes. And they murdered him right in broad daylight. In broad daylight, not in some dark place. In broad daylight. In the noonday. Broad daylight. Right there on the sidewalk. Murdered him. And yes, to improve the quality of life for average New Yorkers. I wonder how much they got paid to print this dribble. For the residents who doesn't want bums urinating in his stoop. For the tourists who doesn't want to be shaken down for tips or fondled in Times Square. For the bodega owners who all of this is solved by prosperity, capitalism, jobs. How many times do you hear a story about, I was homeless, I got a job, now I'm buying a house? You hear it all the time. You hear it all over the place, right? No, the newspaper wants you to think that homeless people stay homeless. That homeless people want to be homeless. Now, of course, there are homeless people who are insane, who don't know any better, and who probably, without help, will not improve their lives. But even they, when somebody steps in to help them out, improve their lives. I've seen that too. It's not just the doctor and lawyer that lost everything, went homeless, and then bounced back with the help of people. Prosperity does that. When people are prosperous, they help even more. When people have extra money, They do stuff like, let me help my fellow man. And it has nothing to do with the police. The police are the bad guys. Yes, they're the bad guys. They do a service. They do a very dirty service for our society. But we do not need entire departments like the Ferguson department, like the New York City police, murdering people, shaking down black kids, stop and frisk. We don't need that. That is not what we want. We want a free, egalitarian society. Yes, remove the people who murder people. That includes yourselves. We don't need you to infringe upon people's freedom and hinder prosperity. And for the Bloombergs of the world, of the United States, we don't need you in office to go around confiscating guns from citizens, leaving them at the mercy of the murderers. A curse upon your house. May your entire family line dies off. All of you. The mayor, the police who participate in that malarkey. No policeman stood up and said, hey, you know what? This is unconstitutional. We have an actual constitutional amendment. And your city ordinance can't override that. Your city regulation can't override that. Your mayoral declaration can't override that. It's in the Constitution. And the whole point of it is that when we come down the street with the Gestapo boot step marching, people can bring out their guns and shoot us. Because that's what it's going to come to. Because we are now taking over all of their freedoms, including their lives. When we start marching down the street, pulling women out of their houses by their hair, throwing them into gas chambers, we don't have to do that now. Obama has drones. We can just shoot people from a mile up. We don't even have to do that. We don't need the Nazi Gestapo police marching down the street, boot stomping down the street. The New York Post needs to be avoided at all costs. Never read ever. This is horrible. Al Sharpton has nothing to do with this. This is the people of Staten Island. Black, white, Jew, Italian, what have you. They are marching to stop such an atrocity happening in their neighborhood. They don't want that. They don't want the police doing that. It has nothing to do with Al Sharpton. You don't murder citizens on the street. Citizens who have their hand up. If you watch the video, he has his hand up. Tell me what you think about that. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show. And the police needs to be indicted to the fullest extent. What did the governor say in Ferguson? Prosecuted to the fullest. All 7 of these police need to be prosecuted. They all participated. You're holding down the guy to be choked off to death? Oh, you don't need to go to jail? You didn't stop the murderers. You didn't stop the guy choking him. You didn't stop to say, hey, that's an illegal chokehold. We don't do illegal. It's an illegal chokehold. I already knew it's an illegal. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh no, that's illegal. You can't do it in any sport even. Even the worst, most violent sport, you can't do it. Why? Because that's how you kill people. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.